Hi guys, Mark Dawes, NFPS Limited. This blog post, I just want to touch on a document here, which is the Royal College of Nursing consultation document. Came out in December 2013, and it's entitled Draft Guidance on the Minimisation of and Alternatives to Restrictive Practices in Health and Adult Social Care and Special Schools. And I've provided a link below this video where you can actually go and download the document. And if you are a manager in those areas, particularly a manager who's responsible for the use of force in those areas, either in actually providing or commissioning training, or if you are a training provider who is looking to actually sell your services or who are involved in training in those areas, then this document is something that you need to download and familiarise yourself with. And what I've got here is just an extract from the document and some salient points. And I just want to touch on a couple of them with you because these are the ones that are important. The document itself makes a number of recommendations, which are in the main very, very good. I've got to say, it's not a bad document at all. It raises some really interesting points. There's two in particular I want to discuss with you on this video. And the first one is point 17A. And it says, floor holds, brackets, prone or supine, close brackets, should be avoided and must not arise from the direct and intentional action by staff to forcibly control an individual on the floor as a means of coercion. So just to clarify that, floor holds, prone and supine should be avoided, and their words, must not arise from the direct and intentional action by staff. Now, there are still a lot of training programs out there which teach this takedown to the floor as a primary method of intervention. So if someone's struggling, they drop them down to knees, put them in prone. This document has said that has to be avoided at all costs. It said must, yeah. And it says you can't control an individual on the floor by means of coercion. So in other words, keep them on the floor against their will to coerce someone in that way. And in the main, I haven't got a problem with that. I'm sure some of you who work in some areas who've got some really volatile and very, very challenging people to manage may have an issue with that. And that's for you to pick up and take up with the Royal College of Nursing if you feel the urge to write to them. The point I've picked up on is point 17B, and I have raised my concerns in a document which I've sent in. And point 17B says this. It says, physical interventions and breakaway techniques must not involve the deliberate application of pain by staff, or as a result of the use of holds whereby movement by an individual will in itself induce pain. So basically what it means is you cannot go and control someone by the intentional application of pain, or you can't hold someone with no intention of causing pain, but they struggle and then pain is caused as a result of their movement, for example. Now, I do have an issue with that. I have an issue with that because it would contradict trying to avoid the first one, which is putting people in the prone or the supine position. What's interesting with this document, when you read it all the way through, it says that people must have an understanding of reasonable force. They must understand necessity, proportionality, and reasonableness. And as you all know, if you're watching this, because you've heard me bang on about this many, many times, if force is reasonable, then it's justified in the circumstances. And in some cases, unfortunately, the application of a restrictive technique, if required to prevent a greater harm, is not only a necessity, it's a duty of care issue. Further than that, if it can prevent someone being put in a position, like a prone position, which has been implicated with a number of deaths, if it can prevent someone being put in a position or prevent them being exposed to something that's a risk to their life, then it's a human rights issue under Article 2.1. And you have to comply with the Human Rights Act. So I have raised something on this. I have sent it in. But once again, I'm making you aware of this document in itself. That one particular point there is something that I think you should be aware of, because I know many of you out there, like us, we're not banging on about the use of pain. We're not advocates of pain. We're not fans of causing pain to people. It's the last thing on my mind. But if the application of a restrictive technique that causes a proportionate amount of harm can actually prevent a greater harm from occurring, not only should that be necessary, it's a legal obligation. And if you feel the need, download the document and send your comments back to the Royal College of Nursing to make them aware of it, because I'm pretty sure this was written by well-meaning people, but this can in itself invoke what's called the law of unintended consequences. And unintended consequences are where someone tries to do something for the greater good, but the collateral fallout from what they do is greater than what they're trying to prevent in the first place. And if you've been on courses with us, or if you signed up for our online reasonable force course, you can hear Professor of Law Gary Slapper talk about this quite eminently from a very well qualified position. So that's all there is in this one here. Link below the video. You can download the Royal College of Nursing document. It is a lot to read through. Have a read through it. And if you're interested in my response, drop me an email. Thanks ever so much for listening.